Offensively against Utah State, what were they doing to give you problems, and how do you kind of fix that going into the Weber State game?
Sometimes the other team really puts you in difficult situations, and you just manage it. And it was nothing more than that. They were aggressive and good, played well, but our both goals were self-inflicted wounds. One was a deflection, one we passed it right to their center forward. Ball landed at the feet of their other forward. So those are both regrettable, but completely fixable. And so it wasn't that we got exposed as much as we exposed ourselves for not being maybe ready for some of the intense moments and making decisions around our own box. And that is definitely what we addressed this whole week.
What has Weber State shown you offensively or defensively that you think the team needs to be really prepared for?
Well, you got to be prepared for everyone equally. They do have a speedy player up front who can get behind people. They have kept every game really close. They're very organized, well coached. Their back line knows when to step high and when to drop off. So they're just a well-organized team, and I think early in the season, the more organized you are, the better chance you have of staying in a game. And I think that's why they've been tight in all their games, because they know what they're doing. I don't know their combination of seniors versus freshmen, but they play like a team that's got some older players. And if not, that's even more credit to them. The coaches have done a good job getting them ready.
After a loss like that to Utah State, is there a set of leaders on the team that you think really holds the team accountable overall?
Well, that's a great question. Yes, unfortunately, most of them are not on the field, and so they're doing their best from the sideline to preach it and encourage and keep the standard high and communicate. So what we've been asking for is, hey, look, if these other leaders that you knew you were going to lean on this year are off, they're hurt, then who else is going to find their voice? Because there's really smart people on our team, Crunch, Faith, some of our upperclassmen as they get through, Ashley, Z. These guys can lead. They just have to step out a little bit and take the reins. Macy playing a little bit last game gave us some of that leadership on the field back, which we've needed.
Speaking of Macy, how do you plan to ease her back into the starting lineup?
Yeah, it's not up to me. I literally get told before every game how many minutes she has. We have no say in the matter, which is totally fine. The doctors did go to med school, so we'll give them credit for knowing what they're doing. So they tell us how many minutes. We've been told on this game what she's got, and we're going to play her accordingly.
How do you feel like someone like Ashley, who scored 35 goals in her career but hasn't found the back of the net yet, how do you feel like she's kept her head and not gotten frustrated?
Well, I think it is frustrating. She's driven by scoring. Most forwards are. We're all greedy, hungry for goals. Our confidence is based on that. But Ashley offers us a whole lot more than just scoring. It is her main thing, but I've seen her go through 5-6 game stretches before without scoring and then scored 9 in a row. So the one thing we know about Ashley is once she starts scoring, they all go in. It's like just the thing for her. So we're not concerned. We're 4 games in. I think a few years ago she was 5 or 6 games in with no goals, ended up with 10. And scored against almost every Big 12 team. And those are the goals that count the most if anyone's keeping track. So we're not worried about that, although we're trying to be tough and push her and edge her along. But also, it's not like she's not going to start and play tomorrow and have a great chance to get on track.
How do you kind of handle this 3-game homestand? It's your last chance before conference play to kind of work out some things, and how do you kind of manage these 3 games and maybe figure out your rotation as you get closer to Big 12 play?
Yeah, I think that when we lost the players we lost a lot of maturity. We lost a lot of on-field leadership, as we talked about. So we've got to find that maturity from younger players, better decision-making, be more organized, be tighter team on the field. And you don't really expect that when you go through preseason. We knew we would get Macy late, but we didn't expect not to have Kylie or Sam. And those are, arguably 3 of the top 4 players and producers on our squad. So we've had to take a couple steps back to be able to take a bunch of steps forward. And that's fun from a coaching perspective because you get to dig down and start dealing with some players that, are going to play more than they thought. And a great opportunity for them. The question is, do they seize it? And if they do, then we're in good shape because the bench is talented. It's just young.
And then lastly for me, obviously you guys only suffered 2 losses last season. You have 2 so far. How do you manage, again, frustrations? I don't know if that's the right word, but how do you make sure that, you take a loss and then you stack a couple behind it?
Well, first of all, you can't go into any season saying you're going to go undefeated. That's setting a bar. That's setting a standard that sets you up for failure. So not losing a regular season game, losing 1 regular season game in the last 2 years is a tough standard to say, okay, that's our standard. We're going to lose 1 game every 2 years. So we just want to have good performances. We just want to play well, put ourselves in position to score, be a shutdown defensive team. And along the way, you find out so much about your team by taking a loss. We really had not struggled in the area of worrying about losing until we got to the Big 12 tournament this year and remind ourselves what it takes. That's what we're doing right now, reminding ourselves what it takes to win college games. And it doesn't matter. In conference, out of conference, team from Utah, team from South Florida, like they're all good. And if you're not prepared, you're not ready, then you're not gonna be ready at all for Big 12.
Everyone good?
What would you like to see from the team over the next 3 matches before the Big 12 party?
I'd like to see us just tighten the screws defensively, be better defending in the 18 and also coming out of our defensive third with the ball. Those are 2 big deals. And I think the other is we have to be more physical. We had our ballet shoes on for the first 20 minutes. We need to put our soccer cleats on, because nothing against ballerinas, they're tough as heck, but boy, we got to get into tackles. We got to win 50-50s. Like, are you kidding me? These are intangibles that were not present for 20 minutes, and then we're in a hole. And then you see all the data, because we get every stat imaginable now. We won all those categories from that point on, but it's too late. It's 2-0. So we had more tackles won. We had more 50-50s won. We won more balls in the air, but it was too late. We were in a hole, 2-0, and Manny's no dummy. He knew how to close out a game. Their team was smart about the second half, played way more direct, kept the ball at our end of the field. And, it's got to be a 90-minute deal. It can't be, we're down, now we'll get tough. I mean, we're West Texas. We're Texas Tech. We have to start being tough. All our Texas Tech teams play that way, and we didn't in the first 19, 20 minutes the other day.
Anything else? All right, thanks,
Cool.
man.
Thanks.